All right. So here is your happy home if you are from the city of Naire, right, which is uh, the country people in the game. And what you currently have is you have this barn over here. You have a whole house we can go look at, but these are local machines, um, and so the barn is a local machine, and you can you can collect you can currently collect the sheep and put them here at the barn. And there's kind of a reason we were doing this. A lot of Azaria is solving puzzles, but some bit of Azaria, in order to solve those puzzles, you have to gain resources and convert resources. And so, what we're looking at doing is indicating that the barn is a puzzle in itself, and that once the sheep are present, and we're going to talk about how you would know that, you can actually harvest the wool from the sheep if you have if you have the prerequisite of number of sheep in your barn. You will be able, it will kick off a timer once they're there and when the sheep is present, and then you can click on that timer, and up will pop a little pop-up window that we've just built, and it will pop that up, and then there won't be anything there until the resource timer goes. And then once the resource timer goes, it will uh, it will show you that you've earned some bales of wool. And then I think this is a modern concept. I can kind of show you what we have and what we've built in the spell creation and the object creation, and how do you create uh, uh, something like a spell or a healing potion, those kinds of things. We do it in a slightly different way, but I really like this to sort of localize these processes. So the object, once it's ready, and the object shows up, then you can then drag that over. There will be a loom machine that you can purchase potentially, or find, or somewhere we've got to come up with where that loom machine's going to go. But by dragging the wool over to the loom machine, um, and again, we can have multi-step processes here. Then then it will eventually, when the timer goes out and everything is processed, it will build something. And in this case, it's building a little rug for with Neil's face on it. So that's the idea. And then you can sell that, or you can put that in your house, or whatever you're going to do with it. I think there will be other things you can do with wool, um, but for right now, what I really want to do is just build the process of doing this, because I think what we're going to do is also, uh, now you can go around collecting resources in the wilderness. You can collect flowers that are used in spells. You can pick berries and roots and bugs and all kinds of stuff that are used in the spells and the creation of things. But we also have chemicals that are used in the making of objects. And so what we really like to do is build out a little farm area where you can harvest your farm, and we'll do it in the same way. So this piece we will build, and then if you're from Etnoch, which is the city, you've got the same thing, right? You've got a little place for your farm. Your house is back here, and you've got a place to shear the sheep. And we won't hurt the sheep, but it'll look a little different than the cozy little barn. And so that's what we're going to be working on. Um, so I will. I don't know if you can see. I think my head is probably over the robotic shearing stations. That's probably a good thing. Okay. Hey. Okay. So to build our graphics for this new piece, I'm using Blender, and I'm just gonna create. I'm gonna create some pieces that will go over the sort of overlays that you can click on in the game. And so I've modeled out a cute little exclamation point, and then had a bear trying to light it. So I've got, just if you're familiar with with uh, with Blender, just getting things not to cast weird shadows. I've got a key and two fills, and then I've got like a light behind it and all of that. So I'm using 3 point lighting, but I kind of had to bring in my fill lights because it's just so powerful. And this the way I want it to look is kind of got this gloss. I'm using a glossy ceramic as the material there. So I was trying to get it to not cast weird shadows. So anyway, I'll do a render and you can kind of see what we're doing. So there it is. It's got this really bright spot right here, which I don't like, and it's got this shadow in the background that's kind of weird. But I think this is really large. I think when you get it down to the size, I'll be able to kind of post correct that. But I've been playing with it for 20 minutes, just trying to get the shadows to not be weird on the ceramic. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing, and then we shift those over into Photoshop, which I'll show you now. So in Photoshop, I've grabbed a couple of different versions of this. This is one that I really like. I have that same ceramic material just on a disc behind the exclamation point, and that's the thing that's going to show up over the wherever there's a resource that you can harvest or you can work on. So I've got that going, and I've got this little cute little button now with exclamation points, and then this will be this will have the countdown for the resource. So for the wool and for the farm, we'll do the same thing. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm currently I just set up this file, this file called S00 resource. I try to keep files that are used in the different scenes. We name them based on the scene that they're in, and then for instance, there's different puzzles or whatever like this, spells in the temple, and you can kind of see everything sort of related to the spells in the temple. For this one, we're setting up resources, and I'm just beginning to work with it, and so I'll keep it all in one file, and then later I might pull the machines out and put them in scene files. And for this, though, the idea is to have everything working the same between not fishing, but the farming and the wool creation. And so sort of resource processing is going to have a lot of the same machines, and they'll be shared between different scenes. So this is kind of where I'm fleshing all that out. So just kind of it's not as rigid as you would think. So I just did this. So I did the bang, or the exclamation point, is that little. If we go look at my new files that I've put into, bang is right there. So there's the little exclamation point that we made, and I'm gonna go back here, close that down, and then the other one is the resource countdown, which is once the process is ready to start, then we're going to start a timer, and it's going to look like this, wherever the resource piece was. So this resource countdown piece. So I need to add those are just PNGs sprites with their 16-bit and maybe 32-bit. I'm not sure, but they're certainly not 8-bit anymore. So they've got transparency. That's all they really need to do. Is I export those straight out of Photoshop once I've sized them to the right point, and then I can use them in here. But I've got to define them into our world, and so that's really easy. I just basically it goes into this little table here called spur names, and I can give it the name that I want to call it. In this case, I want to call it IDS resource underscore countdown. And the other one's just going to be called resource bang, or just IDS bang. And then this is just the actual name of the file. And those files go into one's objects or one's views. And so if it's a PNG, it's going to live in it's either going to be a mask, a sprite, which can become an object, or a view. And so right now we're just doing the sprites. So this one is exactly the same thing. It's called resource underscore CNTDN. I'll hate myself later. Okay, so that's that. And then the other thing that I'm going to do, these are from another. I stole this code from another, another file, but it's the same thing. I'm going to create a machine, and I want to. The only thing I want the machine to do is to pop up the little. I want it to float the little bang above the barn. So that's what I'm going to be doing next. I gotta go find the name of the barn and all that. So I'll bring that back in 1 second. Okay, so in order to get the name of the barn, I'm just gonna run the game. So I'm gonna run the game, and then I'll show you how we can kind of use the game and build on top of it. Um, I'm gonna use a development command to get a button that I need. And I can create a character if I want to. I don't really need to for this purpose, so I won't. It will just be a floating set of chakras over there. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going to the village, and this is where it's going to happen here. And I need the name of this view that I'm currently in. There's the farm's going to be over there, and here's our little barn. And you can kind of tell there's already some machines here for the sheep. So this is where I'm going to put the little floaty thing. So in order to find out where I'm looking, I can just do where. Okay, I'm in IDV Village 4, and I can actually, if I want to know where I want to put that image, I can get the position on the screen here, and then I can copy that. So I have 110, X110, Y58. So it's like the seam of this image must be really close, because I'm only 110 pixels from it, and then I'm 58 pixels down from the top of this image. And then I'll figure out how big the image is, but I'll need the lower, that's the upper left, and I need the lower right to place the machine. And so we'll do that next. So we were right here. And what happened was I accidentally hit a key code that stopped the video. But what we did code is the machine, the position of the machine in the game, and then we gave it this right here. So we added m underscore bang, which is the actual state machine that this references. So I want to come down here and just kind of walk you through that, because it's really simple. We passed in, with the name of the state machine here, we passed in IDS underscore bang as the whip1, which is right here. It's whip1 name. So this goes back to when in the late 90s we were trying to be as small as we could be, and so this was actually a register name. And so when you create a machine, it has slots in the machine for different registers, and this is what makes transferring this data really optimized and fast. So right now we still have, I think there's more than 4, but I rarely use more than 2. So right now, whip, the name of the sprite is going to be passed to the machine that I'm going to build. So I'm going to build this machine that understands what data it's getting. So it's kind of like passing a parameter. So here comes the machine, and I went ahead and typed it up. I'm going to call it m underscore bang, and it's really just going to do 2 things. The first thing that it's going to do is it's going to show the sprite. So it's going to show whip1, which is IDS bang, It's going to show that, and it's going to transition to state number 1, and it's going to wait for a click. So when it is clicked, it's going to transition back to 0, and it is in the process of that transition. It's going to run this code, and it's going to run this. We have a little pop-up that we just created, a window called announce. And for our purposes, since we don't have the other one created yet, we'll just go ahead and use that. So all this should do is show the little bang, the exclamation point above the barn, let you click on it, and then bring up a pop-up, and then we'll move on from there. So I'm going to go ahead and run it. And running it just means I'm pushing it to the database, and I'm going to put these machines into the database, so it's going into the game state world. So there it goes. I'm going to rerun the game from a command. It starts up the server, loads up the database, and we're live again. So in this case, I remember where we were at, and I can use development codes to get there. And there's our pop-up, and it's way too big. So just coming back to look at it, I want it a quarter of that size. I want it just to be a little pop-up above the barn here, so it's not so obvious, but obviously I didn't check it first. So I'll reduce that, but when you click on it, there it is. It pops up the little pop-up window. This will be, again, related to the process that we've talked about. So we have our start. It works pretty well, and I'm really happy with it. And we'll go ahead and make those adjustments. Thanks a lot for watching. Please remember to subscribe. We're going to have a lot more devlogs. You definitely want to see how this thing turns out. We're just at the very beginning, but you're along for the ride. So thanks again, and mash the little button to subscribe. Bye-bye.